Hello Internet, I'm Felix the Snack, and this is just a thought. A YouTuber I've been following for a while called Supervillain Salty has done a video response to a YouTuber called Jeffree Star on their take on non-binary genders. Salty is saying she agrees with Jeffree Star's take on this, but unfortunately none of it's factual.
He basically said that there's no such thing as they and them or any of the other genders that people have created, right? And that he believes that people during COVID got, bored and created all of these things like non-binary and gender fluid or they, them, zir, zed, all of these different genders that people have come up with. Some of them that I have not even heard of. I've heard of people identify as butterfly folk or fae people, like fairies. How right, facts, how factual is Jeffree Star right now. So how base is Jeffree Star? And I'm gonna say he's pretty damn fucking based right now. A lot of people have been giving him a lot of hate, but a lot of people have actually come out of the woodwork and agreed with him. And yeah, I'm one of them. I agree. I think that people during COVID got bored, and it seems like that's when all of these weirdo, wonky genders just started popping up out of the woodwork, stuff that we've never even heard of before. Like, I don't know, there's pronouns that I swear to God sound like an alien language. It's just crazy how these days people seem to be able to just come up with something on the fly and say that it's their gender or their pronoun or whatever. And everybody else is expected, not like you are expected to go along with it. And I think that's just insane. Right? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Hot take. There's only two genders, and you're all delusional and batshit crazy. I stated in my J.K. Rowling video, right? That scientist who tweeted that men cannot become women, right? Got fired from his job, and that is insane to think about because it's not a lie. Men cannot become women. You cannot change your chromosomes. You can get a bunch of surgeries and a bunch of different hormones and put a whole lot of makeup on it. But at the end of the day, your chromosomes will always determine what you are. And there will always be biological differences, but that person got fired too. So, and I read a lot, okay? I read a lot. So if I've never heard of it, it's got to be pretty fucking insane. So yeah, if you identify as something that I've never heard of, I'm sorry. I'm not going to call you that.
I do think it's funny that she says that she agrees that men can't become women, even though she did transition into a man and then transitioned back into a woman. It is a bit of an odd take to say that you read a lot and then decide that if you've never heard of it, it can't exist. I don't have very much education. I mean, I read some, but you gotta expect that if you're only from one country and you've only read so many articles or books or posts on Facebook, you're not really gonna know everything that there is to know. And it seems like maybe we have some misunderstandings on the difference between pronouns and gender and sex. In a lot of cultures, there are only two genders, but in a lot of other cultures, there are multiple genders, and they don't always base their gender roles off of sex. Like the Hijra in India and the elder class in Africa, some African countries. You're not a hunter, you're not a basket weaver, you're an educator and a leader. And these gender roles have nothing to do with sex. You can do any of them regardless of your sex. And they might call them genders, they probably have a different word for it. But in America, in dominant culture, there are only two sexes. Gender roles have been declining for a long time in America. Like it used to be, if you're a woman, you have no choice but to be a housewife and stay at home and raise children and keep the house nice. And if you're a man, you have no choice but to join the war, do a coal mine thing, or be working in an office or whatever the breadwinning thing was. But now women are allowed to work, regardless of your chromosomes, regardless of your sex, regardless of your gender. Anyone can stay at home and raise kids, and anyone can go out and work. I'm not sure why someone would want to be a villain. I mean, I feel like being an anti-hero is way more fun. But if you identify as a villain, I'm not going to disrespect that. Some villains are cute, the Disney villains are kind of cute. And I'm not the pronoun police or anything. If you don't feel like using my pronouns or someone else's pronouns, that's totally an option. You can totally do that. You don't even have to call somebody their name. If their name is Bob, but you feel like you have to call them Robert because that's what it says on their ID and their birth certificate, that's a you thing. And people have gotten fired for all kinds of things. People get fired for having hand tattoos or dyed hair. You can get fired for just about anything. The employment laws are very interesting in a lot of places. But I think it's more fun to just do whatever. Life's more interesting that way. If someone identifies as a fairy, fairies are fun. Goths are fun. Gender doesn't seem like something that needs to be discriminated against. Getting fired for wearing a skirt if you have the wrong chromosomes is kind of boring. I think it's more fun when people can express themselves. We wouldn't have so much cool stuff if people weren't allowed to express themselves way back in the day, people would think that they were vampires, and it was like adorable, like a little cringe to some people, but they were just having fun. And sometimes vampires grow up to be like businessmen or congresswomen, but sometimes they grow up to be cool goths who live in mansions and throw dinner parties. It's so much more interesting when people get to express themselves and find out who they are. So no hate to anybody, whether you agree with Jeffree Star or Salty's take. I think it's cute when everybody just reads for themselves and thinks of their own opinion, because at the end of the day, it's just a thought. Thanks to anyone who made it all the way through this video. I haven't posted in a long time. It's been a whole pandemic. If you want to support these videos or any of the other stuff I'm up to, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye!